Hi, I'm Jason Walcott, and this is Walcott Fine Art. In today's video, we're going to take a look at grays, which is so much more than just black mixed with white. Having different kinds of grays, warm and cool, is really helpful to creating a good painting. So, let's go have some fun with grays. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at grays, or what you could also call neutrals. And they're very important in painting because they help you kind of control your color and get a more naturalistic look when you know how to use them correctly, especially in landscapes, but in all kinds of other paintings as well. So let's just take a look at a few of the things that you can do with grays here. And of course, the first and most obvious thing you could do to make a gray is just to mix black and white, you know. So you have a little bit of white, a little bit of black, and you mix that together, and it makes gray. But just like that kind of gray, you know, it's a little boring, it's a little dull. There might be applications where that could be useful, but it's not probably the best way to do it. And of course there's also tubed grays you can buy, like Gamblin makes these Portland grays. But this is basically just a mixture of black and white, so that's not really going to be any different from doing this. So a great way to make grays is actually to mix complements. And I am going to show you two of my favorites that are very useful, plus another one. And the first set of colors you can use to mix a gray or a neutral is burnt sienna, or this is transparent oxide red, but burnt sienna is, you know, basically interchangeable with that. So burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. And this is one of my favorite ways to make a neutral color, because essentially this transparent oxide red is basically very dark orange and dull orange, and then the ultramarine blue, of course, is blue, and orange and blue are complementaries. So they're going to cancel each other out and make a gray, but it's not going to be the kind of gray that's really sort of neutral and dull like the one made from black and white. So, and I'll show you why this is somewhat useful. So if we just mix these together, that is actually a way to make a mixed black, sort of, that you could useful. And if we mix a little white into that, you'll get a better idea of the color of it. Now see, I don't know what's quite showing up, but even though this looks very neutral, it actually has more depth and more like a richness to it than the one made from black and white. And the thing about this, with mixing grays this way, is you can skew them to one side or the other. So if you want it to be more of a warm gray, then you can add in more of the transparent red oxide and kind of push it in that direction, and you get more of a warm gray like that. Or you could go the other way and then push it toward the blue and get more of a bluish gray that's cooler. So, but it's still neutral. It's not as intense as if you just mixed either of these colors by themselves with white. So you can see all the beautiful different variations you can get in there. So gray can be a really versatile and beautiful color with all these subtle hues that you can accomplish with it. And another example I'll show you here is phthalo green and quinacridone rose, which is or quinacridone magenta, which is also a complementary set of colors. And so you get that same kind of neutralizing effect that makes a gray. And again, as with the other, you can kind of push it one way, push it to one side or the other, so you can get a more cooler, like greenish gray, like this. You know, that almost has kind of an aqua undertone to it. Or you could go in the other direction and get a more violety gray. And a gray like this, you know, it's kind of violetish but toned down like this, that's a wonderful violet gray tone for landscapes, especially like distant mountains when you're doing atmospheric perspective. Because if you make those tones too violet and too intense, then it sort of kills that naturalistic look. So you can see from these different colors how much variation I can get in my grays and how much richer and more interesting this is in terms of the color than just mixing black and white. Now you could mix this and then put some color into it, so that is a possibility. You know, like you could mix a gray with black and white and then, you know, add, you know, the burnt sienna sort of into it like that, and that'll kind of make things a little more interesting. But the black and white just tends to have a look to it that's a little bit more life, you know, not as rich and full of life as the ones mixed from colors. So, and then another option that I like to use in my own palette is if you go out and you buy a cool, now this is very important, you have to buy a cool raw umber. You can't get a warm raw umber. And most of the raw umbers on the market are warm, but the two companies that make very cool and neutral raw umbers are the Richish and Shiba oils, and these are very inexpensive, but they're very good quality. And then the other one in the premium grade brands is Vasari. Vasari makes a raw umber that's cool like this, but the Richardson and the Vasari, they're almost the very same colors. So the Richardson is actually really good, and it's a little bit better for if you're on a budget. But the raw umber, this cool raw umber, you can see when you mix it with a little white, it makes a very neutral tone with just a ever so slight little bit of warmth to it because it is an earth color. So this cool raw umber and white can also be used to make a very nice gray. And again, you can start with a color like that and then mix it in. This is some quinacridone violet I've got here. Could mix it in with a little color to make a neutral kind of violet range of tones like that. So there's just a lot of versatility that you can get with grays by mixing complementary colors. Another set of complementary colors, of course, is violet and yellow. The only thing with violet and yellow is the yellow is very strong, so in those mixtures you will tend to get more of a greenish look to your grays, but that can be very useful for landscapes and things like that. But it's a great way to know how to mix all kinds of different tones that are very useful for getting those subtle shades of color that aren't real bright, where you need a neutral tone, but you don't want it to just be this sort of dull, lifeless mixture of black and white. So I hope that this helped you a little bit in understanding how grays work and how to use them and mix them from the colors that you have. And so I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. And why not spread the joy? Be sure to share my videos on your favorite social media. Don't forget to head on over to my website, walcottfineart.com, where you can see my art, read my blog, or when you join my newsletter list, you can win free art. Every month, I'll choose a lucky winner for my email list, and that person will receive a mini original oil painting. There's a chance to win every month, so be sure to sign up today so you don't miss out. Plus, you'll get my fun newsletter. See you next time!